Welcome to the court. I am its Jester. Okay, Makoto. Out of the trash pit and into the fire. But Kyoko, why'd you come rescue me? Well, the alternative was leaving you to die, and I don't think she wanted to do that, buddy.
So...
To pay a debt. Or no. To atone. Oh, for the whole throwing Makoto under the bus thing? I would have done it too, hon. I would have done it too if I were in your shoes. Atone?
You...
During the trial, even though you knew I was lying, you didn't say anything. Well, someone in chat was telling me not to. Hello. So you knew that I knew.
Indeed.
But even though I knew, I did nothing to help you.
I
abandoned you. Don't say that. You didn't abandon me. Makoto, she super abandoned you. No, that's exactly what I did. I abandoned you in order to save my own life. You were trying to save me, and I couldn't bring myself to do the same for you.
However...
But listen, that's not what I'm trying... Listen, not that I'm trying to make excuses, but there was a reason I had to survive, no matter the cost. Why did you have to survive?
It's true.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you everything. The reason I have to survive...
In other words...
is so that I can do what I came to this school to do. What? I made up my mind to come to Hope's Peak Academy for one very important reason. So you have some reason for coming to Hope's Peak?
Indeed.
That's right. At least I did once. Once? Until recently, I'd forgotten what it was. You forgot? But that's... I had no memory of what my purpose was. No memory? That's impossible! Makoto, amnesia is a thing, my guy! Huh? Amnesia? Then, is it really true? You lost your memory?
Makoto.
Do you remember, Makoto? Do you remember the first thing that happened to each of us as soon as we arrived at this school? The first thing? You're talking about when we fainted, right? I fainted, and when I woke up, I was trapped here.
That's right.
I fainted too, and when I woke up, I noticed a strange feeling of separation within myself. A disconnect.
It would seem...
Thinking back on it now, at that point, my memory was gone. At that time, I had forgotten. I couldn't remember why I'd come to this school, and I couldn't remember what my ultimate ability was. But what would make you forget all that?
Hey.
Strange, isn't it? It's hard to imagine it happened by chance. It seems much too convenient. Are you saying you think you lost your memory because...
Indeed.
I don't think. I'm positive it was the work of the mastermind. They stole my memory. But why would they do that? Because Kyoko knew too much. There's only one reason I can come up with. Because of my purpose and my ability, somehow they would interfere with the mastermind's plans. So the mastermind just stole them from you?
However...
And it could also mean, somehow, my memories may be connected to the mystery of this school and the mastermind. Which is why I have to get them back. That's why I've been investigating things by myself this whole time. But if what you say is true, why didn't you ask the rest of us to help you?
Why is that?
If I did that and we all worked as one, the mastermind would have noticed right away. Plus, there's always the chance that the mastermind is actually one of us. What?
Correct.
Well, don't make too big a deal of it. It's just a possibility. But since it is a possibility, we can't ignore it, right? Mastermind. One of us. If she believed that, then of course she couldn't trust anyone around her. In which case, it only makes sense that she would look into her missing memory by herself.
However,
That being said, there was a limit to what I could do by myself, which is why I asked you to help me. But why me? Because among everyone, you were the least likely to be the mastermind. That was just intuition, but I see. Your intuition was right, though. There's no way an ordinary kid like me could have been the mastermind. I've read AU fanfiction that says otherwise.
I understand. I should understand everything.
Oh great, Makoto's getting the fever dream flashbacks again.
My goal isn't to get out of here. It's to stay here.
It's just like the dream I had before, but why did that just happen?
listen.
Are you okay? Look, Makoto, you took a pretty deep fall. We were pretty high up when you got plummeted into the trash room. Oh yeah, it's nothing. It is nothing, right?
Hey,
Even now, I still trust you, you know? It's just, I'm not used to relying on others.
correct.
I know I never asked you for help the right way, so I understand if you're not convinced. Honestly, I was convinced. I think that's just her personality. You said you had a reason for doing all that investigating on your own. So how'd that turn out? Were you able to remember anything?
So,
I think there's still a lot I don't remember, but at the very least, I was finally able to recall my purpose and my ability. You mentioned your ability. My ability, what everyone should have known me for. I'm the ultimate detective. No shit, Sherlock! Kyoko's the ultimate detective. Oh my god, this is so shocking. It completely recontextualizes how I view her as a character. Like, everyone should have been figuring this out day one. When Kyoko started getting handsy with dead bodies and was really comfortable with it, everyone should have been like, I hope she's a detective. She better be a detective. The ultimate detective?
correct.
And the reason I came to Hope's Peak Academy, there was someone I had to find here in the school. You had to find someone? Who?
So,
Well, it was the headmaster of Hope's Peak Academy. The headmaster? Why did you want to find the headmaster? Because he's my father. I'm not surprised Kyoko has daddy issues. I'm really not. What?
in other words,
I was separated from him as a child. As it turns out, he became the headmaster of Hope's Peak. Kyoko's dad is Hope's Peak's headmaster? Then that explains when Alter Ego told us how he thought the headmaster was involved. I'll find a way.
Huh?
No matter what it takes, I will find the headmaster.
no matter what?
No matter the cost.
So,
Kyoko, what's going on? My memory hadn't come back at that point. But when he said that, I felt strange. It makes perfect sense now. Of course, since my whole purpose for coming here was to find him. That makes sense.
However,
But listen, Makoto, I want to make this perfectly clear so there's no misunderstanding. I said the headmaster wasn't the mastermind, but I didn't say that to protect him. I only said what I felt based on what I'd seen when I snuck into the headmaster's room. Then, what did you see in there?
So...
The room had been ransacked. The shelves were a mess. The desk drawers dumped on the floor. The only conclusion is that someone who didn't know where anything was had been in there. You mean the mastermind, right?
It's true.
That was my assumption, yes. And to confirm my suspicion, I decided to investigate the second floor of the dorms using the key I'd found. But why there? Because I found this in the headmaster's room. This is some kind of map?
Indeed.
It's a layout of the entirety of Hope's Peak Academy. I found it in the headmaster's room, along with Mukuro's profile and that key. The map showed that the second floor was home to a number of rooms meant for faculty use. Some of the staff must have had to stay overnight from time to time. And I figured that the headmaster would have some kind of private room there. I assumed that if that were true, the room would likely hold more clues. So I went to check.
Correct.
And that's when I finally remembered. I remembered that my purpose was to find the owner of that room. So you went there to see if the headmaster really did have a private room there.
However...
But once I got there, I noticed that the second floor of dorms didn't have any cameras or monitors. So, what was it like? That part of the school, I mean. It's hard to describe. All I can say is... The moment I saw it, I realized... Whatever's going on in this school is more horrific than we ever imagined. What do you mean?
So...
I can't explain it. You need to see it for yourself. And I'm sure you'll get your chance soon enough. It sounds like it must be important. And really ominous.
However...
I had no idea what was going on in the rest of the building. It has to do with Mukuro Ikusaba, doesn't it?
However...
Just to be perfectly clear, I didn't kill her. And I know it wasn't you either. Yeah, no shit. Mastermind broke into Makoto's room and took that knife. I know you're right, but that just means everyone but you and me had an alibi. So then who did kill her? Fucker that broke into your room.
Anyway...
Which is what I can say for sure is that the mastermind is directly involved. When the mastermind broke into Makoto's room, I saw the hands. There was no tattoo on the hands. The body we found and the person wearing the mask that attacked Makoto were two separate people. To begin with, the point of the class trial of Mukuro Ikusaba was to get me killed. Get you killed?
Indeed.
I stole that key and disappeared, and in retaliation, they wanted to draw me out and eliminate me.
Correct.
That was the point of the class trial. It was? The mastermind knew they couldn't interfere directly. You mean because of the school regulations?
That's right.
Exactly. With minimal restrictions, you are free to explore Hope's Peak Academy at your discretion.
In other words...
The mastermind is adamant about following the rules, and with that rule in place, they couldn't step in. Since they couldn't kill me themselves, they tried to use the class trial to do it. The mastermind couldn't step in because of the rules? That makes it sound like the mastermind themselves is somehow bound by the school regulations.
Hey.
There's one other thing I'd like to point out about the murder of Mukuro Ikusaba. What's that? There was a point where Mukuro may not have become the victim. It could have been you, Makoto. I could have become the victim?
Indeed.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Do you mean... during that night? I can hear them, you know. The footsteps of the god of death. What? What? I can hear the god of death as he moves. That ability naturally draws me into cases just like this.
Anyway,
Which is exactly what happened with you. I was in the dorms, and I had a sudden sense of dread. I looked down the stairwell, and I saw a white shadow cross the corridor. I gave chase right away. As I followed it, I saw the shadow go into your room.
correct.
I ran into your room, and I saw what was happening. I intervened immediately, of course.
However,
That wasn't the end of things, of course. I stopped them, but that led to... whoever the masked assailant was, they ended up dead.
correct.
And their murder was disguised, and the dojo key wound up in my room. It all has to be the work of the mastermind, an attempt to use the class trial to eliminate me. Okay, so let me get this straight. Kyoko can hear the footsteps of the god of death. So Kyoko knows when people are going to die. And that night, Kyoko knew that Makoto was going to be killed, and she intervened to keep him from dying. I have one question. Kyoko, where the fuck were you? Where the fuck were you during every other trial? Every other time someone died, where the fuck were you? Where the fuck were you when Sayaka was killed? You didn't hear the footsteps of death that night when she was planning to kill Leon. Where were you when Chihiro was killed? You didn't hear the footsteps of death that night in the locker room. Where were you when Taka was killed? You weren't even there! What the fuck? My baby! My baby! And you, where were you? Everyone's blood is on your hands because you knew they were gonna die and you did nothing to stop it. The fuck? This is bullshit, Kyoko. This is bullshit. And I know you. I know what you're about. I know you only saved Makoto's life because you thought he was submissive and breedable. This is bullshit. Okay, I'm calm now. So all this would mean is that whoever killed Mukuro is also the mastermind, right? Yes.
Indeed.
I don't have conclusive evidence, but that's what I think. But that's really bad if true. It means the mastermind can kill whoever they want if they feel like it. Makoto, that's always how it's been. Do you remember Junko getting speared to death for stepping on the bear? Wait, but doesn't that create another contradiction? The mastermind wanted to use the class trial to try and kill you because they couldn't interfere, right?
Correct.
You're right. That is a contradiction. And it's not just Mukuro. They needed the class trial to kill me, but seemed ready to kill you in your room. Everything they did is a contradiction. Wow, it's almost like the person who locked a bunch of teenagers in a death game for the sake of despair is fucking unstable. So what does it all mean?
In other words,
It means that the mastermind is the one who's been cornered. Huh?
Makoto.
Just a little more. A little more, and I should be able to figure out the mastermind's identity. The identity of the other ultimate despair. The other ultimate despair? There's no doubt that Mukuro was the ultimate despair, and that she's dead. But I don't think the ultimate despair is just one person. It's not?
Indeed.
If you think about it, the ultimate despair seems to implicate whoever caused that event. You're talking about
That's right.
what happened a year ago. The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. The tragedy. Whoever's responsible for that. They're the ultimate despair?
It would seem...
That despicable group whose only purpose and motivation comes from despair. Then they're...
Indeed.
Make no mistake. They're the root of all evil that has forced us to go through this. That is the ultimate despair. And that is our real enemy. Six remain. For a second, I thought this was something very different. Something that would not have been appropriate for a high school student to have. You can all decide what you think it's shaped like. The ultimate despair. A group of people who caused the tragedy 1 year ago. Those same people put together this killing game and began broadcasting it around the world. The most desperately awful group of people ever. That is the Mastermind's true identity. Our enemy has finally been revealed. But right now...
Anyway...
Right now, we have to get out of this horrible place. Figuring out the rest of the story can come after. Yeah, you're right. My dog's barking. I gotta go take a second to figure out what's going on with her. I'll be right back. I have returned. Kyoko, what's good? Kyoko, do you still have that one thing? Monokuma's secret tool that you got from the headmaster's room?
Indeed.
Of course I do. It's an absolutely vital part of ensnaring the mastermind. I would never part with it. And it can open any door in the school, right?
That's right.
That's right. Then we should be able to use it on that door, right? Hey, Kyoko, we can use that key of yours to open this door, right? Oh my god, Makoto!
It's true.
Let's find out. Kyoko took out the key with the Monokuma design on it and slid it into the keyhole. And then... Yes, it opened!
Indeed.
And now we can get out of here. Let's go. Sounds good. We quickly opened the door and made our escape from the garbage pit. Finally. We were finally free. But there wasn't even time to take a breath of relief. Because the real fight had just begun. Ultimate pain, ultimate suffering, ultimate despair, ultimate execution, ultimate death. After leaving the garbage pit, we found ourselves in a tunnel extending straight up like a chimney. There was a metal ladder leading up into the tunnel. We started climbing the ladder, intent on reaching the surface. I do not like that we are seeing Kyoko from this angle. This was unnecessary. The game did not have to do this. And while this could have been worse, it could have been a lot better too. I'm just gonna avert my gaze. The ladder was impossibly long. I couldn't even see where it ended. We climbed into the darkness. The passage was so dark and cramped, I couldn't even see my own feet beneath me. I had no idea we were so far down.
Hey.
Don't lose your footing. If you slip, I won't be able to catch you. Yeah, I'll be careful. But now that you said that, I'm getting kind of nervous. Maybe talking will keep my mind off it. Oh god, do we have to have an entire conversation on this CG? What the fuck? Kyoko, there's something I wanted to ask you. You said you were the ultimate detective, right? So how long have you been doing detective work? How long?
So...
Ever since I can remember. I come from a long line of detectives. Detective work is in my blood. There was a time when being a detective was considered a sacred duty. My family's always seen it that way. Then, is your family famous?
Wrong.
Quite the opposite, actually. Even among actual detectives, many people haven't heard of us. But how come? It's like your family tradition, right? So...
Right.
Because we take pride in it. Pride?
Indeed.
A detective is neither light nor shadow. We represent neither justice nor evil. That is how we can uncover the absolute truth. We stand neutral in all things, and to do that, we have to stand separate from the rest of society. Which is why we've made a conscious effort to conceal our existence. A conscious effort?
It's true.
It's kind of old-fashioned, and I can't say it's entirely rational. But it's our family creed, and we do what we must to protect it. Because, like I said, it's our source of pride. Pride. So that explains. Before I came here, when I was looking up info about the school online, I never saw anything about her. Because she hid herself on purpose, to protect the pride of her family.
However...
And yet, I gave up some of that pride. Huh? In order to enter Hope's Peak, I had to reveal myself to the school. I did it knowing it was something a true Kirigiri detective would never do. But the reason you gave up that pride, the reason you would go so far to enter Hope's Peak, it was because that's how much you wanted to reconnect with your dad, right? There's no shame in that.
What?
Reconnect? I had absolutely no desire to reconnect with my father. Huh? But you'd be reuniting after all those years, right? You would have had so much to talk about, like, hey Dad, remember all those core memories you weren't there for? Hey Dad, remember all of my adolescence that you were absent for? Hey Dad, remember how you abandoned me to this weird detective cult?
Wrong.
There's nothing I want to talk to my father about.
However,
There is something I want to say to him, though. What? No matter what it takes, I have to find him and tell him face to face. What is it?
So...
I want to sever all ties with him. You already did, though! What do you mean? You already did! You're like saying that you hadn't seen your father in years, and you had absolutely no way to call, like you couldn't just take his cell phone number and give him a call. The only way you could think of seeing him was to go to the school he's the headmaster of. You didn't even know his home address. Like, Kyoko, you're full of shit right now. Kyoko is so in denial. Kyoko desperately wants her daddy's approval. Desperately. Because she's the ultimate detective. If she wanted to find this man's home address and just wait outside and knock on his door and tell him, hey, I tracked you down just to say go fuck yourself, she could have done that. But she wanted to get into this school because she thought it would impress him. And that's what it was. Kyoko, I know you. I am also a girl with daddy issues. You do not get to say this crap and not expect me to call you out on it because I see through all of your bullshit. You can say you hate him all you want. Doesn't change the fact that you were mad he left. Sever? The last time I saw him, I was still very young. So I don't remember myself, but apparently he was extremely intelligent. He was in line to become the next head of the Kirigiri family. He was talented. He had a promising future.
However,
but he had no interest in detective work. So he cut himself off from the family. Not long after that, my mother died, and he simply ran away. He went to my grandfather, and they had a huge argument, and young as I was, he left me behind. I'm sure there was a reason for that. Yeah, the reason was Kyoko's dad sounds like a fucking deadbeat. I'm sure your dad wanted to take you with him. Legally speaking, there was nothing stopping him. Just gonna be like, okay, let's go. Packed my bags. Kyoko, get in the car.
right.
If that's true, then I need to thank him. Thank him for leaving me. Yeah, to your weird detective cult. Because unlike him, I take pride in the work I do. I take pride in my family name. So every last part of me is happy he didn't take me with him. Then why are you throwing away your pride just to go see him? If I had gone with him, I never would have had the chance to become a detective. I was above Kyoko on the ladder, so I wasn't able to see her expression. So I couldn't tell. I couldn't see how she looked when she said that, what she might have been feeling. All I could tell was that compared to her usual self, she was more talkative and more emotional. I don't blame him, you know. He had his own life to live. You kind of don't anymore when you become a parent, though. You kind of give up that life because it's like all about your child then. That's what anyone in my position might say, right? But it's not true.
However,
but there's one thing I can never forgive. Really?
so...
The way everyone else looked at me. I was never sad about being left behind. Like I said, I think it was a good thing.
However,
But when the rest of my family looked at me, they saw something different. They only saw me as the little girl that was abandoned by her father. That's how they see me, even to this day. His shadow has been following me my entire life. I'm sick of it. I need him out of my life. I need to step out of his shadow. Kyoko, he's already out of your life!
Correct.
That's why I have to find him and tell him we're no longer family. I get that Kyoko is definitely deeply hurt by her father's abandonment and views it as him rejecting her. So she needs to go and be like, no, I'm the one rejecting you, so she can feel some semblance of control over the situation. But I really do think that Kyoko, rather than sacrificing her pride and stuff and complicating things with her family by stepping out of the shadows and going into the limelight and then going to be a student at the school her dad is a headmaster of, just to tell him she hates him. I really think that this isn't super healthy. I think she would benefit from some, therapy. In order to settle the past, in order to remove him from my life forever, I have no doubt he forgot about me years ago. What the fuck is this? But your family, to just cut him out like that. Makoto, I cut out family all the time. Mainly because I had a lot of family members that wouldn't stop telling me I was gonna go to hell. So I don't talk to them anymore.
Wrong.
Our only connection is through blood, nothing more. Are we connected by heart and soul? No.
Hey.
Is blood really enough to call someone family? Only connected by blood, not by heart and soul. I was so shocked to hear her say something like that. I didn't know how to respond. So instead, I said nothing. I just kept climbing the ladder in complete silence, thinking about how much Kyoko needed therapy. And after that, and after I don't know how long, we finally reached the top. I feel like that conversation would have gone a lot better if instead of the ultimate lucky student, Makoto was the ultimate therapist. Looks like this is it.
Indeed.
On the other side of this door, Hope's Peak Academy is waiting for us. We're back.
That's right.
Remember that hatch on the ground near the trash room? I'm fairly certain this is where we'll come out. How are we gonna open the door? We don't have the key to unlock the trash room! Hifumi had it, and it's probably still on his corpse, and we don't even know where the corpses go. I unlocked it earlier, so it should be open without much trouble. Oh, thank God. Oh yeah, key that unlocks everything. That is super fucking useful. Well, here goes nothing. I reached my right hand up and pushed against the hatch. Oh, I dropped something. Picked it back up. The hatch opened with ease, and so... looks like we're back.
Whew.
But I can't believe how long that ladder was. I'm exhausted. I can't exactly say we're safe and sound, but at least we're out of there. Now we're back in Hope's Peak Academy. Kyoko, thank you. I never would have gotten out of there without you. No thanks necessary. I was just returning the favor. Oh, we have to go tell the others that Makoto's alive. So, what do we do now? Let's go tell the others that Makoto's alive. I'm glad I didn't die, of course, but if the mastermind finds out, And I'm worried about you, too. You helped me, so they might...
Listen.
You're worried? Yeah, of course.
So then,
Then let's just get a concrete answer. Huh?
in other words,
Let's ask Monokuma if there's a problem with you escaping. Wait, that's...
however,
If we try to hide, it's only a matter of time till we're found out. And it's not like we can run away. As she said that, she pointed at a nearby surveillance camera. So you're saying rather than stressing out over getting caught, we should just give up now? Don't worry. What you think is going to happen isn't. Because the mastermind is the one that's ensnared. The mastermind is ensnared. You said something like that before. What does it mean?
so,
The mastermind stood exposed during the investigation into Mukuro's death. There was a moment where the mastermind let their guard down. There was?
right.
If we can talk to Monokuma, we can confirm it. And it'll be better for us if we go to him directly before he tracks us down. That should help with our negotiations. I'm still a little, super uneasy about this. Join the club, Makoto. But we really don't have a choice, do we?
Indeed.
Monokuma should be in the gym.
Shall we go?
Let's get going. Every day, Makoto wakes up.
Well now.
Hey! Kyoko, I don't mind so much.
I don't believe it!
But Makoto's supposed to be dead. What's he doing here? That's exactly how I thought he'd react. Are we really gonna be okay?
Pung!
You were supposed to be punished. Did Kyoko help you?
What?
So what if I did? What will you do? Oh my god, this is a peak what are you gonna do stab me moment.
Shing!
If the guilty party is exposed during the class trial, they alone will be executed. It's unfortunate, but that is the rule.
You're making me angry!
So now, I gotta punish you again! And this time, I won't leave anything to chance! Kyoko! You have a plan, right?
Right.
Do whatever you feel you have to. Kyoko! Is this the plan? What?
However,
But before you do, let me just say one thing.
now,
If you execute Makoto, that means you lose. Not that that matters to you, right?
Huh?
Huh? I lose?
Hey!
You explain yourself! What do you mean by that?
because,
Well, you set up the latest class trial yourself, right? I was getting in your way, so you wanted an excuse to kill me.
in other words,
I was supposed to be chosen as the Blackened, and then executed, right? Hey! What are you talking about?
however,
But when Makoto chose to overlook my lie, your plan came crashing down. The results of the trial weren't at all what you were expecting. Because you never imagined that in that position, one person would protect another like that.
right,
And in response to that unexpected development,
indeed,
you reacted by proclaiming Makoto the Blackened and trying to execute him. You made the choice out of desperation. No more than that. You must have realized that Makoto, who refused to be manipulated, was a threat to you as well.
However,
But then there was another unexpected development waiting for you. An entity that would throw a wrench, so to speak, in your precious execution machinery. Alter ego. You never imagined the possibility of a being that could come to our aid even after you killed it.
am I wrong?
Now here's the absolute truth. Makoto didn't kill Mukuro. You did.
Listen to me.
So executing Makoto for it would surely be a violation of your rules, which I know you love so much. If the blackened is exposed, they alone will be executed. That's what you told us, right? And that means I lose? You talk a big game! You're saying the blackened is me and not Makoto!
Well?
And you can prove this, right?
Well,
No, I can't. Don't just say it like that! What is this? A comedy routine? To make such bold claims without a shred of evidence?
that doesn't matter.
I don't have any right now, but with a little more time, I guarantee I'll find some.
That's right.
Because no matter how deeply you try to bury it, there is only ever one absolute truth.
Pung, pung.
And now you're trying to talk like some kind of famous detective type?
Because
If Makoto really was the killer, he never would have come to you willingly like this. He would have feared for his life, feared another execution. He would have tried to run and hide. He would have been gripped by the despair you love to inspire.
however,
But here we are, confronting you with nothing but hope in our hearts. Okay. Well, let's see how it goes then.
What the heck?
And that's supposed to be enough to convince me in the absence of evidence?
indeed.
It's not you I'm trying to convince.
Hey,
If you were to execute Makoto now, everyone out there watching this would be extremely displeased. Huh?
indeed.
Imagine what everyone out there would think if you killed Makoto. They would assume that you killed him because what we said is exactly right.
Listen to me.
Despair can never kill hope.
Hey,
Of course, you can say we're just making this all up. You're welcome to prove us wrong. No, you have no choice but to prove it. Because if you kill Makoto without proving your own innocence, you'll be accepting your own defeat. If you want to earn our despair fair and square,
that's what we have to do.
then I suggest you take my advice. So, what is this advice of yours?
It's true.
To do Mukuro's trial over again. Only this time, you follow the school regulations to ensure a fair trial.
It's time for one last showdown. One final battle between hope and despair. Hey,
Well, that would make for a proper climax, wouldn't you say? A fair trial. One last showdown. In other words, this would be our chance to expose the true identity of Mukuro's killer, of the mastermind themselves. But what reason would the mastermind have to accept the challenge? They'll probably just execute me without another word. Interesting.
Barrett!
Very interesting indeed. Barry?
What's wrong?
Oh, I was getting bored, so I decided to change things up a little. So, time for bear jokes. Now, what you suggested might be possible. It would certainly make for one honey of a climax.
in other words,
Does that mean you accept?
You guys!
If we do things your way, that'll be enough to convince you and the viewers, right? And it would cause you unbearable despair, right? Then I'm prepared to agree to your Will your hope win out? Or will my despair claim victory?
I can barely contain myself.
Let's have one final grisly showdown. He agreed. Then we still have a shot at this.
Bear it.
But this is the long-awaited climax, right? Just guessing the killer is barely a fitting
You
end.
guys?
So for this final face-off, you'll have to unearth all the mysteries that have been buried here. All the mysteries? That's right! Every last mystery that's pawing around the school. If you can do that,
I can barely contain myself.
then that'll be enough to qualify as victory for you.
It's true.
That's what we've been trying to do all along.
Hey,
Okay, well good. Then let's bear it all. If you can claw your way to the truth of Mukuro's death and solve the mystery of this school,
you guys?
then you win. But if you can't do all of that, we'll all face execution, right? I can barely contain my excitement. When you learn the whole truth, what kind of despair will you show me? We're as excited as you are, I'm sure.
Listen to me.
When we've uncovered every last truth, how will the ultimate despair reveal their own despair? I honestly can't believe how this all turned out.
Hey,
But before we get started, I want to clarify one thing. Do you remember the rule? When one student kills another, that's when a class trial is held.
What's wrong?
I remember that for sure. So what?
hey,
I just want to confirm that is what you said, right? And it's a true statement. You don't have to be so suspicious. I've said it before, but it bears repeating. Everything is based on the school regulations. And having a trial for Mukuro is no exception to that. Huh? Mukuro's trial is no exception? Then it's part of the regulations, which would have to mean that whoever killed Mukuro... It's a very polarizing approach, I know. But okay, enough puns. Anyway, here's a hint. I'm sure I told you this already, but this killing game began with 16 participants, all of them high school students. And the only people to take a single step in Hope's Peak since the killing game began are those 16 students. What?
listen.
Are you telling the truth? Why'd he go so quiet all of a sudden?
Now I'm really angry.
I'm done talking! I got nothing left to say to you! So get lost, would ya? Why so mad?
Whew.
He seems emotionally unstable. Well, that is the kindest way you could possibly put that.
Hey!
Leave me alone! Get out of here! Okay, I'm going. You're really gonna let me go? Makoto, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Let's fucking go. Move it. I don't even care anymore. You're all gonna get your punishment later anyway. I need to start getting it ready. A super duper extra special punishment. Overflowing with despair.
Hey,
Come on, Makoto. Let's go. Okay. Monokuma's unstable laughter seemed to cling to us as we walked away. And just like that, we were out of the gym. I could hardly believe it, but somehow I ended up not getting executed. I still had my life, and we still had a chance. Overall, things turned out better than expected. Once again, I was in Kyoko's debt. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick snack break, and then I'll be right back. Thanks. Kyoko, how are you doing? Kyoko, thank you. Everything I have right now is because of you.
However,
Don't thank me just yet. The real battle is still ahead of us. Yeah, true.
whew,
But still, I'm glad it worked out. I wasn't sure if the enemy would accept my proposal. But honestly, why would the mastermind agree to that? I mean, they don't stand to gain anything from a final showdown, do they? It's all about the drama, Makoto. It's all about the drama.
so,
They had no choice but to accept. Huh?
because,
It's because of that one moment that the mastermind let down their guard, like I said. So, when was it the mastermind let their guard down?
so,
I wasn't there to hear it myself, but do you remember what the mastermind said? They said that they had hijacked the airwaves to broadcast our school life to the outside world, right? Yeah, they definitely said that.
listen,
And what did you think when you heard that? Pretty hard to believe, right? Well, I mean, the idea of actually taking over the airwaves seems so unbelievable.
indeed.
You don't exactly read about something like that happening very often, so it's hard to imagine. In other words, that kind of thing is extremely difficult to pull off.
However,
And yet, the mastermind was able to do it.
in other words,
But think of it another way. There must have been some reason they had to do something so difficult. A reason?
so,
They had to show the world something, no matter the cost. Us killing each other. They wanted to show the world.
it would seem,
The mastermind has been very adamant about not killing us directly, but forcing us to kill each other. And all their rules and regulations were designed to encourage that. Yeah, that makes sense. If those stupid regulations didn't exist, nobody would have killed anybody.
in other words,
So the mastermind's ultimate goal was to make us kill each other and show that off to the world. But why?
correct.
To prove a point, most likely. Prove a point?
Hey,
The outside world has a name for the students of Hope's Peak, right? A certain concept. You're talking about hope, right?
that's right.
And for those of us who represent hope to kill each other and sink into despair, the mastermind wants the world to see that, to try and prove that despair is better than hope. That's their goal. That's the ultimate despair. What? They want to prove that despair is better than hope? But that's ridiculous.
It's true.
You're right. It is ridiculous. Completely irrational. It's the kind of thing that nobody but all those who call themselves the ultimate despair would desire. That group whose only purpose and motivation comes from despair. Oh, it sounds like accelerationism. Like, there's a lot of people who believe that things need to get who don't there's a lot of people who don't believe in like actually implementing change into the world to improve things, and instead think that we should let society fall to ruin, because they think once society completely becomes unbearable, there's going to be this grand revolution and then everything's going to start over from scratch and then things can be good. So they want things to get worse because they think that will cause the revolution. But really, it's a bad idea, because if there was a revolution, a lot of people would fucking die. And instead, people should just, like, try to make the situation we're already in better, instead of making things significantly worse so then a bunch of people can die, and then people can try to make things better from the ashes of that. That's what that is. That's what this makes me think of. But is that really their only reason for making the rest of us suffer? Yeah. Dude, have you been on the internet? Have you seen what people say?
Makoto,
I know how angry it must make you, and yet, That same motivation is what led to the mastermind revealing their weakness. What?
In other words,
Because their goal is to broadcast this killing game to the world. The mastermind has to be more particular than is reasonable about their own regulations. If the mastermind simply ignored their rules, this wouldn't have been a game, but a one-sided slaughter.
at the very least,
At least, that's how those who are watching this would have seen it. And that's why the mastermind couldn't kill any of us. Themselves.
indeed.
That is precisely the reason. No matter how much they may hate what I'm doing, I haven't violated a single one of their regulations. Junko broke the rules, so she was punished. But in my case, they couldn't lay a finger on me.
Right.
So instead, they tried to use the class trial, following all their proper rules, to get me killed. They began a trial that didn't have a right answer. Then, they made me out to be the killer. But even that didn't work.
It's true.
Yes, thanks to you. And due to that failure, the mastermind took another risk. They attempted to kill you instead, who was also not the killer. And when the fact was exposed on live TV to the entire outside world, the mastermind had to accept your suggestion.
Indeed.
To prove that the world that despair is better than hope, they have to defeat us in perfect form.
In other words,
It would only do the mastermind harm to have it shown that they'd violated their own regulations. But all of that was a hunch, right? And if you were still able to get the mastermind to accept your challenge...
however,
Well, it's only thanks to you that we got that chance. Because you believed me. Another path opened up. Still, I can't believe how much of the mastermind's thoughts and plans you were able to figure out. I didn't have the slightest clue.
wrong.
In the end, though, I couldn't prove any of it. It was just my reasoning. Essentially, I was making a bet.
Whew.
But it looks like I got it right. This time, at least. I won the bet. She let out a quick sigh. I took it as a small sign of relief. To be honest, I haven't been that nervous in a long time. I totally couldn't tell you were nervous at all. Yeah, Kyoko went in there with balls of steel. She had that shit on lock. You seemed totally confident from the moment we decided to talk to him. Well, presenting a strong demeanor is a fundamental part of negotiation and persuasion, wouldn't you say? Plus, if I showed my uneasiness, that would have just made you that much more uneasy. Yeah, you're probably right. How pathetic.
However,
Anyway, we can't relax just yet. All we've done is earn another chance to fight. We have to win this time.
correct.
Or everything we've gone through will have been for nothing. You're right. If we can't defeat the mastermind, it'll cost us our lives. There is no option except to win.
Hey,
But before we begin the final battle, we have to tell the others what's going on. True, but now we know who our real enemy is. All we have to do is work together with everyone to destroy the mastermind. Work together with everyone.
however,
Is that really possible? Huh?
anyway,
Anyway, right now we have to go find the others.
shall we go?
They're probably in the dorm somewhere. Shall we go? Okay, Kyoko, let's go. To the dorms. Taka? Taka, I'm gonna win this for you, okay? I'm gonna take down the mastermind for you! Where are the others? Not just for Taka! For Sayaka! And Mondo and Chihiro and Leon and everyone else who died! This is Byakuya's room. Is he inside?
Hey,
I don't think he's here. Come on, we need to keep looking. Choco, you inside?
hey,
Hina?
hey. Hey,
Okay, where are they then? Oh, let's go check the cafeteria for them. Guys, are you in here? It's time for my dramatic reveal that I'm still alive. And suddenly we were greeted with... Oh, what the hell? Why are you key smashing? You again. Oh, I really don't want to know why you're key smashing. Is he broken?
whew.
I suppose his emotional instability has reached its limit. Jeez, what the heck?
However,
I wonder what all that was about. I couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief.
Is that Makoto?
Guys!
You guys!
It is! There's no two ways about it. That's Makoto.
Huh? You survived?
Jeez, you're like a stubborn little cockroach, you know that?
Byakuya, that almost sounded affectionate.
I'm just asking to make sure, but you're not a ghost, right?
We are not having the ghost argument again. Everyone was there. All my friends who had struggled together and survived. As soon as I saw their faces, I couldn't help myself. I started to tear up.
What?
What? Wait, what's that smell? We were in the trash a little bit.
What the heck?
Yeah, man, that seriously stinks. It's Makoto. He smells like a wet dog. Get away. Shoot. Shoot. I love all of you too. And in a flash, my tears dried up. I still can't believe you survived. Yeah, me either. Do you realize why it is you escaped execution? It was Alter Ego. He saved my life.
That's right.
Not too many people can say they had their lives saved by a computer program. I imagine it was a learning experience for you.
Yo!
Makoto, what was it like hanging out in the spirit world? Oh my god, I was not dead. I didn't go to the spirit world.
You know?
Did you get to talk to her? Chihiro? Who? Miss Cleo. Who are you talking about? No, I didn't talk to her. I mean, I didn't go to the spirit world. I mean, who the heck is Miss Cleo? So what have you guys been doing while I was gone? Well, we figured that since the trial was over, we'd have access to new places again. And? No dice. All the rooms that were locked before were still locked. So there weren't any new areas. And then where can we find clues? You stink! Are you rotten?
I'm telling you!
Rotten physically, mentally, every way you can be rotten! Sorry, I was rolling around in the garbage for a while. Okay, Makoto, just admit to it. That will make things better. Why are you blushing as you say that? This smell is so smelly. Oh god, Makoto, we're unlocking a weird cake. Makoto, abort mission! Abort mission! Super smelly. You smell even worse than me. Way worse than me. Makoto, back away slowly. I win. Win at what? She seems happy for some reason. Okay. Now Makoto needs to take a shower in more ways than one.
Makoto.
There's no time to indulge in an extended happy reunion. We need to explain to everyone what happened with Monokuma.
Yes.
Explain? Explain what? But is it okay that you're here? What if the mastermind catches you?
It's true.
That's related to what I have to tell you all. I need to tell you all about the last class trial.
Huh?
Last class trial?
In other words,
We're going to redo Mukuro's trial.
Huh?
What? Seriously?
How about that?
What's the point of doing it? Makoto killed her, right? I did not kill her! I was sick in bed with a fever, like a sickly Victorian child, and you dare accuse me of such treacherous acts as murder. No, I didn't do it, like I keep telling you.
wrong.
Makoto isn't the killer, and of course it's not me or any of you.
Huh?
Then who is it?
I see.
What she's saying is, it was all the work of the mastermind.
Huh?
What? You're saying the mastermind killed Mukuro?
That's right.
That's right. It was an elaborate trap contrived by the mastermind. Makoto spotted the trap in time and did what he had to stop it.
However,
But his decision meant that he would be the one to die.
What did you say?
You spotted the trap, did you, Makoto? You make it sound like it was easy. I just,
however,
But executing Makoto, who wasn't the Blackened, is a clear violation of the school regulations. The rules state that only the Blackened is to be executed. The mastermind broke their own rules. Which is why I went and negotiated with them to have the trial one more time.
Huh?
And the mastermind agreed? Does that mean they really did break the rules? They had no choice but to agree. You used the TV broadcast to gain the leverage you needed, didn't you?
correct.
Very observant of you.
Naturally.
I recall what you said at the end of the last trial. You said, now it's the mastermind that's ensnared. That's what you were referring to.
Don't be mean!
Hey, I'm totally in the dark here. You usually are, hero. You usually are. For anyone who doesn't understand, you can ask Kyoko to explain it again. Later. So, knowing all this, what do we do now?
About that.
It's about who killed Mukuro, right? So our job is to expose the mastermind. But there's more to it than that, correct? Yeah. For us to win this time, we have to solve every last mystery surrounding this school.
Huh?
Every last mystery?
But
we've been looking around all this time, and we still don't know anything, right?
Anyway,
You've probably guessed already, but if we lose this time, everyone dies. Okay, that's fine. Let's do it, whatever. Let's just keep it cash, okay? No stress. It's fine. Good vibes from here on out.
Oh no!
Hero, I just said good vibes! Everyone?
I hate you.
Hey! Who said you could agree to those terms without talking to the rest of us? I'm fine with things the way they are. I'm fine living here forever with the master. Byakuya's gonna kill you eventually, isn't he? I, meanwhile, want to get out of here as soon as humanly possible.
Anyway,
At this point, the only way for us to survive is to unravel the truth.
Interesting.
In other words, one decisive final battle. A rather interesting development, I'd say.
But
Figuring out who the mastermind is, and how they killed Mukuro, and all the school's mysteries? It's a pretty freaking tall order. Maybe, but this time the trial is different. We know who our enemy is now. So if we work together and search as hard as we can, I'm sure we'll solve all those mysteries. I'm not so sure about that. Huh? I can't agree with the idea of working together with everyone. Come on, Kyoko! Teamwork makes the dream work! You can't agree? Why not? I mean, working together with everyone seems like the most obvious way to solve all the mysteries.
Indeed.
That's what I thought at first, too. Until Monokuma gave us that little hint of his. Hint? It's a very polarizing approach, I know. But okay, enough bear puns. Anyway, here's a hint. I'm sure I told you this already, but this killing game began with 16 participants, all of them high school students. And the only people to take a single step in Hope's Peak since the killing game began are those 16 students.
I see.
Monokuma said that, did he? Then Kyoko's opinion is perfectly reasonable.
Huh?
Huh? But why?
So, in other words,
If the mastermind really is the one who killed Mukuro, as Kyoko says, then the mastermind would have had to step foot in this school, right? Monokuma probably could murder Mukuro, but there's no way he could have disguised the scene like that.
in other words,
But according to Monokuma, the only people who have set foot in Hope's Peak are the 16 students who have been taking part in the killing game. Then the mastermind is... There were 15 of us in the main hall at the very beginning. Oh, Taka, I miss you. Add in Mukuro, and you get 16. So the mastermind would have had to be one of them.
that's right.
And of those 16 people we started out with, the only ones still alive are the people standing here right now. Need I continue, or do you get it?
What?
You're saying the mastermind is one of us?
No way!
You can't be serious. Wait, we can't say for sure that's true yet. Yeah, for all we know, one of the people who died was just faking their death. Monokuma might have just said that to confuse all of us.
Indeed.
It's certainly a possibility, but only one among many. The mastermind being one of us is also a possibility. And that is one possibility we can't ignore. Yeah, I mean, they're an ultimate, right? The ultimate despair. So they must be a high schooler. You can't say it's not possible. But if one of us was the mastermind, they'd have to be controlling Monokuma somehow, right? But did you ever see anyone acting suspicious anytime Monokuma was active?
Well,
Maybe they snuck off and controlled him in secret.
but
I don't care how sneaky you are. We would have noticed anyone sneaking off that many times.
I'm right, right?
Then maybe Monokuma was on autopilot. Maybe they loaded up all the dialogue and actions beforehand. In that case, there's no way he could have had all those back and forth conversations with us. Well, it wouldn't be entirely impossible if they directed the flow of the conversation. Well, maybe, but still, I'm with Makoto. That would have 100% been entirely impossible.
This is a school announcement. You've all probably figured this out by now, but at this point, the killing game has now entered true ending mode. So, in the name of fairness, I will unlock every room in the school. Look wherever you want. Solve the mystery in whatever way you see fit. Then we can all meet up at the class trial, okay?
Hmm?
How very magnanimous of him to unlock all the rooms.
That's fine.
The time for talk is done. Now we need to begin our investigation. But I was planning on working alone from the beginning anyway.
In the name of my family.
At this point, I can only rely on myself. On the Togami blood throwing to my veins. Oh my god, Byakuya, you would have loved Game of Thrones. I have no time to worry about the rest of you. Each of you must uphold your responsibility.
Goodbye.
Well then. After making his final statement, Byakuya left the dining hall. Master! He didn't take me with him!
Hey.
Do you blame him? Without Master, the rest of you are like coffee with cream, without the cream, or coffee! You're totally useless! So bye! What the fuck? With that, Toko trudged out of the dining hall. And now she's gone. And you're gonna go off by yourself, right, Kyoko?
Indeed.
That's right. Which just leaves Makoto, Hina, and me.
You know?
In that case, I'm gonna go by myself too. Why?
Just a second.
Wait, how come?
How about that?
Just wait and see. I'm gonna use my totally awesome spirit power to figure out the mastermind's identity. Laughing loudly, Hiro left the dining hall.
Aww.
Everyone's really gonna go off by themselves? What about you, Hina? I guess I'll do the same thing. Why? Hina, it was gonna be you and me to the end of the world.
But,
I mean, it's not that I don't trust everyone, you know? But up till now, I haven't really been all that useful. I just depended on Sakura and everyone else. You're not useless. If you hadn't been there, I would have died.
Huh?
Makoto? That's really nice of you to say. But still, I know I've mostly been totally useless.
okay.
So I figure, at least here at the end, maybe I can find something that'll help us all get out of here. So I'm gonna go off and do it all on my own. Okay, see you later. Bye, Hina. Hina was in surprisingly high spirits as she dashed out of the dining hall. And once again, it's just us two.
Indeed.
So you're gonna go off on your own too, right, Kyoko?
However,
Well, don't misunderstand. Just because we're going to do our searches separately doesn't mean we can't still work together.
so...
That goes for all of us. I think I see what you mean. Doing our own investigating doesn't mean we can't work together in the end. I should just see it as us splitting up to cover more ground. And then we can get back together and share what we found. Yeah, that's right.
So then,
Well, I better get going. I have an endless list of things I need to check.
correct.
Monokuma said all the doors in the school had been unlocked, right? So we should be able to investigate every nook and cranny in this school. We can visit all the places we couldn't go before.
Makoto.
Makoto, no matter what it takes, we have to uncover the truth. By any means necessary. With that, Kyoko was gone, leaving only me. I don't have time to waste either. I have to begin my search. I still can't believe the mastermind might be one of us. So that's what I have to prove. I'll prove that the mastermind isn't one of us. I'll expose the mastermind's true identity and solve the mystery of this school. And then we can all escape together. I guess I'll start by taking another look at Mukuro's Monokuma file. Due to the explosion, the victim's identity is unknown. They were, however, dead before the blast. The victim has been stabbed a single time with a knife, which went completely through the body. They had also been struck in the head with an object about as thick as a metal pipe. The body was covered in other wounds, but these were at least several days old. Once we find out who killed Mukuro Ikusaba, then we'll know who the mastermind is. So where should I start my investigation to figure out who killed her? I guess I should start with the rooms that were locked up till now. The headmaster's room, the biolab, and the door in the data center with Monokuma's face on it. Oh, and the second floor dorms where the gate was down before. That should be open now, right? After that, I'll have to double check the areas that are connected to the murder, which means the garden and the dojo. Okay, time to get started. Oh, cool, that's actually really convenient. To the garden. Yeah, the body's gone. Huh? Yeah, the body's gone. It's gone. Mukuro's body. It's not here? Maybe the body is inside the tool shed. It's not. I didn't find anything even close to a dead body. But if it's not here, then it must be... I have no idea where. But corpses aren't the only thing I need to check in here. There's one other thing. The tarp. A tarp played a key role in another case, so I better look into it. The killer used the tarp to keep the sprinklers from getting the body wet, which means the killer might have left some clue behind here. Huh? I didn't notice this before, but there's a small stamp on the corner of the tarp. It says Biolab. Then this originally came from the Biolab? That's all I really need to check here. But where could her body have gone? I better start looking for it. Well, you can look for it next time, Makoto. We're gonna stop here for today. And then tomorrow at 12, I will be back to figure out the rest of the clues. Until next time, show's up!